Well, it's day one as far as getting on the grass. We've been, as a staff, we've been, really back at it for 3 weeks now. Just preparing and getting ready, picking up where we left off before we went on break, and our team has really done a great job all summer long. Really proud of this group. It's been a fun summer, but last kind of had about 5 days with the staff the past couple weeks as far as just kind of some program type things, and then the last 2 days with our team, no football, just program stuff. It's been really good. There's a great buzz to this group. There's a lot of energy. Everybody's always excited this time of year. This team's certainly excited to get going, we'll got a lot of work to do. Was it 31 days, I guess, before we play? So a lot of work between now and then. And as you always hear me say, you can't win 5 games till you win one, and you can't win the opener till you get through camp. And it's not about getting through camp; it's about winning camp. And to win camp, you got to win today. So this team, I think, has the right approach, the right mentality. We're in a really good spot, it's been a fun couple of days, just really being engaged with them on a real macro level of who we are, and now we're back into the meetings and getting back on the grass for the first time today, football-wise. There's been just a lot of buzz. Never gets old. This is my 41st football team. Started playing in the 5th grade, and that's only because Mom wouldn't let me play till the 5th grade because I had scoliosis as a kid, and doctors wouldn't let me play. So I played all through high school and 5 years in college, and this is my 33rd year in college, and 14th as the head coach, and 20th year at Clemson. So 41 football teams I've been a part of in some shape, form, or fashion, and it never gets old, man. The grass is green, the equipment room is buzzing, and everybody's excited about football. So it never gets old. I mean, I love it. I love this time of year. I love the preparation. I love the organization. I just like being with the guys. I like, building that team. And this team is way ahead. I can tell you that. They're way ahead in some of the intangibles that it takes to win at the highest level. We got all the measurables to be a good team, but it's the immeasurables, the intangibles that usually separate the good ones from the great ones. So I like where this group is from the start, and everybody's fired up, but we just got to take it one day at a time. I know everybody heard about Landon, and obviously just really heart breaks for him, and just he had a great spring. Obviously didn't go through spring from a physical standpoint, but did everything and looked great. Had a little bit of a setback, and honestly just mentally and physically didn't feel like he could do it. He was going to graduate in December, and so those are tough days and tough parts of the job, and tough part of the game. But man, we love Landon and his family, and he's still a part of what we're doing. He just won't be able to run out there and play the game the way he wants to play it. So, but team's ready to go, and we'll hit the field here in a little bit, and hopefully y'all will enjoy getting a first glance at the 22 team here. So with that, we'll take whatever questions you got.
Coach, I guess you still feel pretty good about your depth at the safety position.
Oh yeah. We got a great group. That's one of those blessings of this team. I think we've got depth at every position. As I've said, the only real question I have is punter. And we got guys, but who's going to be the guy? So we're going to find out. As we go through camp, I'm excited to see that. But we've got excellent depth at every position. We really do, and we've got experience. We've got experience and talent. So I love the makeup of this team. It's not always the case that you have that. Some years you're young on one side, really experienced on another side, or some years you maybe it's one position that's really young. But like in 18 when we won it, we were obviously really young at quarterback. Trevor's a true freshman and Chase is a redshirt freshman. after the fourth game, that's kind of where we were the rest of the year. So some years you get more lucky than others, but this team has really, really good depth. I think at every position. So it's a big loss because he's another great experienced player, but we've got options. Obviously, the guys that are there, we love the guys we brought in, and then you got some guys that can cross train if we needed them to, position wise.
Yeah, but it seems like Nate Wiggins is a guy that's made a big jump. What did you see from him this spring and hear about him this spring?
Just more buy-in, more maturity. Very, very immature guy last year from a football, loves to play, incredibly talented and very competitive, but just a young guy maturing and really buying in to what it takes, because it takes what it takes. There's no shortcut to it, and I think that's the biggest thing I saw was him really buying into what it takes to not just be good, but be great. He's got the ability to be great. Nate the Great, he can do it. But he's his only limitation. I'm really proud of that kid, man. I really am. He's got a great mama, and I'm really glad that we have him. I mean, he's been a lot of fun to coach. To me, a guy like Nate is one of those things that's why you coach, because he just needed a little, just needed the right, squeeze, if you will. And in our culture here, it's going to pull you one way or another, and it's going to squeeze you up or out, one of the two. And man, he's allowed it to really squeeze him up, and he's had a great spring, a great summer, and he's just really bought into what it takes at Clemson, and what it takes for him, I think, to reach his potential. So he's going to be a heck of a player.
How does Cade went through spring? He needs to be ready to play early in the season. Do you feel like he'll be in that position?
Absolutely, yeah. That's why. We put him second the day he got here. We didn't want to waste a rep. We didn't want to waste a minute. He needed all that work. Obviously mentally we've come a long way since January, and I think he was 79 pounds or something like that when he got here. Now he's 197. So physically he had a lot of work to do, and he's done it. So he's in a great spot, and I don't think there's any question he'd be ready.
You spoke about buying in. What about Trenton Simpson showing up at 240 pounds? How's that going to benefit him moving forward and the expectations he has?
Yeah, he's a freak, man. I mean, it's not the weight; it's the composition of the weight. That's what it comes down to. And I mean, he's big, strong, fast, and lean, and smart. And he's been a great player, a dynamic player his first 2 years here. You got to remember he was a lot of running back, as well. But man, this kid's got unlimited potential, and his transition more into the box and playing the wheel backer, and just really, he's the best version that he's ever been, and that's what we ask our guys to do. That's what buying into it is all about. When you come back in August, be the best version of you that we've ever seen. Whatever that is, maybe you're Ryan Linthicum and you were fat and sloppy when you got here, and you need to get your butt in shape. And man, he shows he's from like 330 to like 306 or 307 or whatever he is, and that dude he's the best version of him. Trent Howard, like we need you 300, man, and he's 298, 299, and we need you strong. Like he's the best Trent Howard he's ever been since he's been at Clemson. Trenton Simpson is the best Trenton Simpson that he's ever been. And that's a mentality that it takes to have a great program. If the best version of you is back when you were a freshman, then something's wrong. I don't care if you made freshman All-American. You got to get better. And if everybody buys into that, then we will all be better. And so Trenton is a perfect example of that. This is the best version of himself that he's been since he's been a Clemson Tiger. And so what does that mean? That's good news for the Tigers. Bad news for whoever we play. It's a good combination of experience and size and strength and speed and athleticism and character. You know, he's a high character kid to go with it.
Dabo, how much of the way you guys finished up last year kind of cemented that drive for these guys coming into this year?
Well, I think they've got a healthy perspective. I think they have a unique perspective that really, honestly, no team I've had in a long time, you know, has had. I mean, honestly, these guys, and it's not their fault. It's just they really haven't had any football adversity, if you will. You guys have heard me say many times, there's a difference between disappointment and adversity, right? I mean, it's disappointing to lose a game. It's disappointing to lose a national championship or a playoff game. That's disappointing, but I wouldn't call that football adversity. 4-3 at Clemson, that's football adversity. All right, and so, you know, I was able to coach last year in a way that I really honestly haven't been able to coach in a long time. Because I hadn't really had the opportunity. And there's certain things that you can't teach, you know, on the mountaintop, if you will. You know, none of us like adversity, none of us like disappointment, but it's all good for us. And it's all about how you respond. You know, as I told the team last year, being 4-3, that's not going to define us. What's going to define us is how we finish. And man, you know, I'm really proud of that team and what they went through. But those guys that are back from last year's team, they have a perspective that, again, no team in the last 7 years or 6 years, you know, really had, because, you know, all they've done is win. And, you know, a moment here or there, disappointment. But so I think that's a good perspective for these guys that they have coming into this season. I think probably, as I've said many times, a reset on the appreciation of winning, you know, and what it takes to win and how hard it is to win. It is not easy to win. It is incredibly hard to win. You know, Alabama in their last 5 national championship games, they've been the best of the best. I think we can all probably agree with that, right? They're 2-3 in those national championship games, 2 blowouts. It's friggin' hard. I don't care how good you are, how much you've won. It's hard to win, and it's even harder to win consistently. And so, you know, sometimes you win so much. I was watching a guy the other day. He was speaking, and that's what he was talking about. Man, you can't lose respect for the blessing. You know, sometimes you can win so much, and it's the same thing for your fans. You can win so much, you can lose respect for the blessing, or more importantly, you can lose respect for what it takes. And that's the message I've had with our guys since January. Is I wish I could change what it takes, but I can't change what it takes. It takes what it takes. And you got to be willing to do what it takes. You got to be willing to pay the price. You know, there's one of my favorite quotes is there's nothing more common than unsuccessful people with talent. There's nothing more common than unsuccessful teams with talent. You got to be willing to pay the price. And so I think for this team, again, it's been fun because I was able to really kind of teach in the Valley last year in a way that I haven't had the opportunity to in a long time. And I love how those guys responded. I love how they responded. You know, they went from 4-3 to the longest winning streak in the Power 5, and had a great finish. And we weren't really very good, but we just kept finding ways to win. And that's what good teams do. That's what culture does. And even the games we lost, they still have a chance to win every game. You know, and they just kept believing, even with the disappointment and the adversity and challenges and injuries and all these things. And so they've got a good perspective on, and I think a reset again on the appreciation of winning, what it takes to win, and how small that margin for error is. And so I love their mentality, their mindset, and you know, I think that'll serve everyone well as we go through you know, the season, and even our fans. I mean, I think I'd say the same thing for our fans. Again, you can win so much, you lose respect for what it takes, or the blessing of it, and you know, so you know, it's hard. There's only 2 teams with 11 plus 10 win seasons. There's a reason why there's only 2. It's really, really, really hard to win.
Outside of Adam Randall, is there anyone you expect to be limited today?
Let's see. Stellato, you know, he's he's probably hopefully full speed Monday. You know, he's really kind of battled a hamstring since he got here, but he's not. I don't think it's bad, but he tweaked it a little bit. But he's probably limited today and tomorrow, and hopefully get him going full go Monday. And then we got, I think that's it. You know, from the scholarship guys that'll be limited. Everybody else will be ready to roll.
Dabo, how has Brzee attacked the rehab over the last several months and getting back to it?
He's relentless. I mean, just great passion. That kid is, you know, he's one of those kids that he don't need any motivation, you know, from any of us or anything. He's just, and some people are just wired that way, and that's how he's wired. I mean, we can help him along the way, but that dude's going to be great whether you're there or not. He's just driven that way, and then I think, you know, all that he's dealing with his family and his sister right now, I think that's certainly fueled his fire even more, and I think probably given him a perspective that a lot of young people don't have, you know, with what his whole family's going through with Ella. So he's been awesome. I mean, he's ready to roll. Looks great. He's strong. He's lean. He's fast. He's on the field. Good things are going to happen.
How does all that perspective affect camp specifically? You said you were coaching in the Valley last year. Has that shifted to the players? Have you seen them take over kind of in that leadership, that respect for the perspective?
Oh yeah, I think, as I said, I think, you know, you only know what you know and what you've experienced, and you know, these seniors and juniors they won 29 in a row. You know, they've seen it. These older guys on the roster, and these younger guys. I mean, last year, you know, first time they hadn't been. We got to win. We want to win this league. You know, everything goes through our goals here. It's very simple. We want to win this opener. We want to win the division. We want to win the state. We want to win the league. We want to win the closer. And as many of those goals as we can hit, good things are going to happen. And you know, that's really only the disappointment for me last year is we didn't hit enough of those goals. That's it. You know, because those are our goals, and we just want to achieve. You know, it's our focus. And we didn't, from a season standpoint. I love my team. I'm proud of them. I measure the teams based on their commitment and all those things, and they were awesome. But we didn't achieve enough of those goals that we set out to achieve. So, absolutely, I think you learn through your experience. There's no greater teacher than experience. And we got a lot of experienced guys on this team that have, you know, experience at both levels. And when you only have experience in with one perspective, it's really hard maybe sometimes to understand. And so I definitely think these guys have taken great ownership. They've been incredibly invested in this journey. This journey for us doesn't start today. Man, it started in January. This is just the next phase for us. Everything that we've done since January has built to today. And but everything in our program is about accountability and leadership development. And these guys have done an awesome job of taking that on and you know, really leading our team. And that's the other thing that's, I think, unique about this team. We have, and y'all know these guys, I mean, we have an incredible group of veteran leaders, juniors and seniors, but we got some amazing freshmen and sophomores, amazing freshmen and sophomore leaders on this football team that are like way wise beyond their years. So and it was kind of fun because I always let our seniors, as we build our leadership group, I let them pick some juniors and some sophomores to kind of be a part of that. And you know, there's a lot of guys they wanted in there, you know, which is great. But because that just goes to show you what they think about their teammates and how they see them. So this has definitely been a team that's had great leadership since January and a good perspective.
Can you describe the progression you've seen of Will Taylor this offseason, and how do you see his role evolving this season?
Baller. He's a baller. I mean, he's Will Taylor. You know, shows up, hadn't played baseball. Next thing you know, bam, he had close to 300 or so. I mean, probably faster than he's ever been. He's always been fast. He's strong. He's confident. He's got enough experience now and went through camp last year. He obviously has as y'all know, what our plan was with him last year is where we were. We really brought him through as a quarterback to train him up with a foundation, perspective of a quarterback, knowing we were going to move him, but really, equip ourselves that way. Obviously, our quarterback room is in amazing shape, but so we're excited about that. But we were transitioning him game 4 last year. We were kind of in that process, and whatever it was, 4th play of the game or 3rd play of the game, he's out. So, he was on his way. All I can tell you is I started him at punt returner against Georgia in his opening game on the road in Charlotte. There's not many freshmen that I would run out there in that regard. So he's just a baller, man. I can't wait to be able to get on the field and start coaching him, as a wideout. He's fast, he's explosive. I got to kind of see where he is because obviously I haven't been able to. He couldn't do anything in the spring, so I haven't been able to really coach him since last fall. But he's got everything. He's got everything. He'll be a great player, and it'll be fun watching him develop.
Is that slot wide receiver position kind of open right now?
I mean, they're all open. The good news is we got a bunch of guys. I mean, it's good to be finally. We got 10 scholarship players. It's been a while since we've been, fully stocked at that position with health. We've had guys on the roster, but we hadn't had everybody available. So getting everybody available has been really good. And, we got some guys. Most of those what we call the 2 and 5, those guys are interchangeable and can cross train, and they got to cross train. And then we got our boundary guys. And you got some guys that can play everywhere. Bo Collins can play anywhere. I mean, he can play in the boundary, he can play in the slot, he can play 2-man, he can play anywhere. I think Spector is the same. Will Taylor is a slot and a 2-man. Antonio is a guy I'm excited to get on the field with. He certainly can play the 2 and the 5. And those guys, like I said, they got to be interchangeable. So I think we got a lot of options, man. EJ, he's as talented a kid as we've had through here. Y'all saw him as a freshman, and then last year, he hardly even played. He's hurt, 2 surgeries, missed all spring. I'm excited to get him back. Ngata, the whole group. We just have a really good group of guys. It's as deep as we've been in a long time at receiver, and a really talented group. They got a lot to go achieve, but they'll do it.
You mentioned your
Maturity, commitment, focus, health. He's really been unbelievable. I don't even know how else to say it. He's been amazing. He's had an awesome. He's one of the best. He's become one of the best leaders on the team. One of the most respected guys. This guy has grinded all spring. And he really has played very little in 2 years. Spots here and there. He's been through a lot. But guess what? He survived it, and he's through it. We all get curveballs, right? You ain't got to hit the curveball. You just got to get a piece of it, right? Stay alive. And he's stayed alive. And here he is, and it's going to happen. If he's out on the field, it's going to happen. He is unbelievably talented. And I know I've talked a lot about Ngata, but again, he's got to go do it. But if he can stay the course where he's at, he'll have a great year.
Dabo, what does it feel like to look at your fellow coaches in the ACC and realize that you're kind of the old man in terms of tenure now?
Yeah. I am the oldest. I'm not the oldest coach, but I'm the most tenured. Well, that just shows you. You better save your money if you get a coaching job. This is a very volatile business, right? And this is. I remember walking in my first ACC meeting in May of '09, coaches meeting. I was just telling Frank Beamer this the other day because he was the only one that would talk to me. I was scared to death. You walk in that meeting, it's Tom O'Brien, it's Friedgen, it's a bunch of crusty dudes that I didn't know, and I'm scared to death of these guys. I'm like, man, I'm all right, Phrygian. I'm sitting over here. He just had this persona. Tom O'Brien, I thought he was like a drill sergeant, and I'm like, all right, I'm not sitting by him. Bobby Bowden had the USA Today asleep over in the corner. I'm not sitting by Bobby Bowden. Paul Johnson, well, he just beat me as an interim, and I'm not sitting by Paul. David Cutcliffe I knew, and I really liked David, and he was kind of the new guy too, me and him coming in, and I'd known him for a long time. But man, Frank Beamer, just the nicest guy in the world. And I love Jim Grove. Those guys were great. I think it was Randy Shannon was at Miami. He was a super nice guy, but I just remember walking in that room going like, okay, this is happening. I'm in here. And I literally, Coach Bowden he just slept. And then every now and then he'd wake up and he'd be like, yep, you boys might want to do that. Y'all gonna be around here longer than me, but y'all might want to vote on that. And he'd just kind of go back, I think he's been in one of those meetings or two, but Beamer's just was so nice. But I remember sitting there and like, wow, these coaches, they've been there forever. They're so successful. And in 13 years, it's turned over, so, I mean, I guess whoever took the over on me won. There's a lot of people that lost on the under, that's for sure.
Are you extra friendly in those meetings now?
Am I what?
Are you extra friendly in those meetings? What do you think of the new guys?
I like all those new guys. I am. I go out of my way. I try to welcome all those guys because I know what it's like to walk in that room and that setting with your peers like that.
Coach, you had some bigger offensive linemen for this way, and for the first time in a long time, since some bigger dudes walking parks.
Massive.
Were you happy with all of those guys? Do you 360? Is it right where you want to be?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, these dudes are strong. These dudes are strong and big. I mean, look at Putnam. Parks, as you said. It's a process. Again, Walker Parks was a great player when he got here, but this is the best version of Walker Parks we've ever seen. This is the best J Mac we've ever seen, and that's what you want. That's what these guys are committed to. And Dietrich Pennington probably would have been a starter for us last year. Now some of y'all 360 probably ain't very good, all right? But again, it's not the weight; it's the composition of the weight. This dude is lean 360. One of the strongest guys, most powerful guys we've had come through. How about Blake Miller, Colin Sadler? These guys are 320 or whatever, true freshmen, strong. But biggest thing is we've just got everybody healthy and we got them through the knot hole. I'm proud of Linthicum. Linthicum and Tristan Lee didn't have a senior year in high school, COVID. And then they, there's a difference between working out and training. All right. And they get here and they're way behind and it took them a year, but man, they put the work in and we're just in a different spot. That redshirt sophomore group, Mitchell and Tucker and John Williams and Trent, now Marcus Tate as a sophomore. They're just all the best they've been. I couldn't be more pleased with every single one of those guys in that offensive line. There's not one guy that I'm disappointed in. They all put in the work. They've done what they need to do, but this is probably as big as we've probably ever been, and as strong as we've been across the board. So we got a good group. We finally have the depth that we need, and I think a lot of guys that will be, ready to play. So we got to figure out who's running out there first, who's 7, 8, 9, 10, and go from there. But the good news is I think we got everything we need right here.
What about John Williams?
Looks great. He's worked his butt off. He's got his body in a great spot. He's strong. He's the best we've ever seen him. You think about him, he missed his whole first year, and then he gets hurt again last year. But he's persevered. He's hung in there, and he's ready to go. He was able to go through spring. He's a versatile kid. He brings some versatility to the position. He can do multiple things. We have several of those guys that I think could cross-train, which is great because you want to get your best 5 out there. And, I really love, where we are. And again, it starts with J Mac and Putnam and Parks, man. Those guys are great leaders and unbelievably committed and passionate about, having a great year.
Where does Jaden Lucas and how could he contribute to you for that?
Well, I mean, he's ready to roll. He's a dynamic player and was off to a great start in spring, and obviously he got hurt, but he's out there ready to go, full speed, and he's got to play. He got to help us, and we think he will. I mean, he's very, very talented, and we'll see how he does through camp. He hasn't been through a camp yet, but we've seen enough out of him since January to know he can help this team.
What's your thoughts on the running back room, and how much will you guys lean on them, especially given that depth that you just talked about in the O-line?
Well, I mean, everything always starts with the run game for us. It always has, and some years better than others, but we've always, feel like everything comes through being able to run the football and, win the line of scrimmage. And you don't win as much as we have won without being able to run the ball effectively. And so, we got 3 great backs. I think we got 3 starters at running back. I think we got several positions like that. I think we probably got 4 starters at receiver. I think we got 4 defensive ends that are starters. We got 3 D tackles that are starters. I think we got 5 linebackers that I would call a starter. So we have depth, and so all 3 of those guys, man. But we're always going to lean on that run game. That's always where. And then we want to be an offense that can, how they going to play us. And we've had some years where people are, playing against the pass, and we weren't quite good enough to run the ball. And we've had some years where they're giving up the pass, and we're not quite where we need to be to throw the ball. But when we've been at our best, we've been able to have some semblance of balance, but be able to do, be able to take advantage of what weakness there is for a defense. And because every defense has a weakness. It's always a numbers game. What's on top, what's in the box, and where your mismatches are. So, I think this is a team that will have the ability to run the football. And if we can do that, then that creates stress. And then you have opportunity to attack people horizontally and vertically.
What's the ceiling of Kobe Pace and Will Shipley this season, you're thinking?
They can be great. They can be great. Both have, Kobe played really not a whole lot as a freshman. So, he and Shipley and Maffa, that was really kind of their first main experience was last year. And as I said earlier, no greater teacher than experience. And 3 great kids, 3 unbelievably committed guys. They all are special in their own way, and all have really, really bright futures. And really, they can go as far as they want in this game.
Dabo, have you been able to talk or counsel Deshaun recently with what he's doing?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've communicated with Deshaun over the last year or so quite a bit, and he's kind of at the back end of it. He's been through all the legal stuff, and now he's kind of dealing with the last part of it. Not quite finality yet, but eventually it will be, and he'll move forward.
You mentioned how strong your quarterback room is. How much value does Hunter Johnson's football IQ add, kind of having an extra coach on the sideline?
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, and that's what he wants to coach, and so he's got that mentality. But yeah, I mean, we're very blessed with this quarterback room. I mean, we got 6 guys that can really functionally play quarterback, and could win games for us in situations and whatever. So we're really fortunate that way. But getting a guy like Hunter, who's a 6-year guy, who's been there, done that, he's seen it all. It's not just his ability, but it's his leadership. It's his football character. I think it's his understanding of where DJ is, where Cade is, and being able to bring that little bit of a player coach mentality into that room, and be ready at the same time, because he's going to go out there and compete. He's going to be ready. So it's awesome, having Hunter back, and it's been fun to just see him in the meeting. Every now and then I do a double take, and I'm like, I think that's Hunter Johnson. It's been fun to have him back in the meetings and watch him engage with the guys. I think he's really enjoyed it.
Coach, you talk so much about experience, but what about the freshmen that didn't experience last season and the new guys? How do you kind of get everybody on the same page?
Yeah, so that's kind of what the last 2 days were about, and really not the last 2 days, but really you had some guys come in the spring, and then a lot of guys. You got your summer enrollees, signees, and some walk-on guys. So we have a kind of a process that we go through as far as starting over and installing the program and the fundamentals and the core values of who we are and the way we do things and why, to really get everybody on the same page and to create that ownership and that buy-in. So that's something we work on throughout the summer, and in these last couple days, really intense into that.
Dabo, were there any guys weight-wise that you weren't pleased with where they got to?
Weight-wise?
Yeah, they still need some work.
No, there's definitely, there's some of the young guys that are, just getting here and getting going, work in progress. But the guys that we needed to be, certain that we're really, really counting on, they're all right where they need to be, and progressing. So I wasn't disappointed with anybody. I mean, how about DJ? It was amazing. I mean, he's 255 pounds. He's 21 pounds down. And I told him if he'd take that necklace off, he'd have lost another pound. He cheated a pound. I'm really proud of him, man. Really proud of him. But all of them, they're just outstanding. Again, they're all at different parts of their overall development and their journey. But just where we need each guy to be, in the progress where they've made from where they were. Are they better than they were? Are they worse? And our whole football team showed up better than where they were in the spring. And that's a good sign. It's a good sign.
Biggest thing you want to see from the team today when they get out there?
Just good practice habits. We've spent a lot of time, today just coming out of the meeting and literally it's all about these little things, man. And because the details is what lead to the big things. And just having good practice habits. Got to learn. As you go through camp, you got to learn how to practice the right way. And we're all we got. Everybody watched the Hall of Fame game last night, right? And we don't get to play anybody. We don't get to bring somebody in and practice against them. We're the only level of football that doesn't get to do that. I still don't understand that, but so we're all we got. So you have to learn how to practice, and then there's certain habits within practice that if you don't practice that way, you don't just flip a switch and have it show up on game day. It doesn't work that way. So that's the biggest thing. I want to see the maturity in how we handle ourselves on the practice field today, and I think we'll see that.
Dabo, you mentioned Ella Brzee earlier. I think she was honored at the ladies' clinic. You said that all of us face Goliath, but David.
Yeah.
How well have you got to know her, and is she kind of an inspiration for Brian, but then also for others?
Oh man, Ella is an inspiration for our whole locker room. Everybody loves Brian, and everybody loves his family. He's got a beautiful family, beautiful sisters, awesome mom and dad. I mean, just great people. And so you get to know people in the recruiting process. And little Ella, she was a young middle schooler when I met her, and so now she's 15, and she's in a tough battle, and she's an inspiration. I mean, being with her at the ladies' clinic and seeing just her spirit, and her joy in the moment, and it was inspiring. And she's definitely someone that I pray for every day, and their family, and I know our team, really is praying for her as well. So, and just keeping our arms around Brian and lifting him up as he navigates what he's trying to do on a daily basis, but also, be there and support his sister.
Paige has a lot of guys in front of him. What kind of opportunity do you think he has, just given all the experience around him and above him?
Just go compete. They're gonna all play. This is a team that's built a lot like our 14 team. You were around here in 14, so you remember DJ and Grady and I was at the Falcons the other day, and I was just talking to Grady about this. But DJ and Grady and Carlos and Deshaun Williams, all them guys are still playing, right? And Josh Watson, and I think there was one more in there. This is a group that I missed one.
Tavares.
He was an end, but the end was the same way. You had Tavares and Corey Crawford and Kevin Dodd and Shaq and Vic. I mean, it's a pretty good group. Our 18 group had the star power on the front line, but we were really young behind them. You know, our backups were a young Logan Rudolph, a freshman Xavier Thomas. You know, we got, you know, we stayed healthy. We had Albert. He was our most veteran guy. But this group's very deep, so those guys are all going to have opportunity to play. And you know, our strength will be in numbers, and hopefully that will serve us well throughout the course of the season. And there's not many teams that will be able to have that type of depth and rotate and things like that. But Peyton is going to be a true sophomore. I mean, how about that guy? He was 380 pounds when he got here. That was a bad 380. It wasn't a Dietrich 380, David Hood. It was a bad 380. So he's not listening to me. You paying attention, Hood? Okay, good. Just want to make sure.
Bobby Bowden back there.
Yeah, Bobby Bowden. He's asleep back there. But you know, look what was he though? I mean, he's 380 when this kid shows up midterm, and he's the same thing. Didn't have a senior year, and now what was he like 315, 317? I mean, incredible. I mean, just he's a different person. And he did some stuff last year. He made some glances, some flashes, and did some things. But he's one of those guys that can do it all, man. And so there's room for all them guys. I promise you, if they deserve to play, Nick gonna get them in there. He had a great spring, so if he'll build on that, he'll be fine.
Yeah, but the NCAA recently recommended doing away with the one-time transfer rule and letting players transfer as often as they want to. Curious just what your reaction is to that. Do you think that would further complicate trying to manage your roster?
Well, I don't think there's any question about that. If you were the head coach and everybody could leave at any time, would that be complicated for you? Okay, well, there you go. I mean, but I don't think they passed that, did they? Yeah, but I mean, it is what it is. We have we don't have much structure in college football right now, you know. So that's why you better be inside out and you just focus on where your feet are and be great today. And that's my focus is. Because I don't have any control over any of that stuff, so I ain't worried about it. I just focus on our guys and Clemson and getting ready for Georgia Tech.
Dabo, Thomas also was saying that there's maybe more negative recruiting against Clemson now than there used to be. Just as a program, how do y'all kind of handle that? Do you try to handle that, or you just not?
Well, I think we're recruiting pretty good, so they ain't negative enough, I don't guess. Again, it's one of those things you don't control. I mean, you just be who you are. Just be who you are. Focus on being who we are and be transparent. You know, I think we're doing all right in recruiting. Doing all right.
Dabo, when you look at middle linebacker with Trotter and Bentley and McGuire, do you want one of those guys to emerge to be the guy, or do you play?
They all the guy. They all can play. Man, Levante Bentley, that's a redshirt junior. That's a bad dude right there. He is a grown man. Trotter, McGuire, Simpson, who the heck am I forgetting? Forgetting one of them. Carter. Barrett's kind of, you know, a hybrid guy, but you know, Trotter and McGuire and Bentley and Trenton Simpson, man, you can just pull them up in the air. You know, all them guys can play. So I think all of them are going to play. That's why we didn't even put a depth chart out, because I don't know who's going to run out there first. We'll see. Got a long way to go, but I do know this: if all them guys are healthy, they're going to play. I don't see them standing on the sideline. Be WWE tag team. You know, all right, I got you. I'm in. I'm out. So that's what you want, man. You know, and they're very. That's the other thing I like about this team. I said this to y'all in the spring. They're a very self-aware group. You know, they've got a lot of selflessness and self-awareness, and those are two of those unique intangibles that you don't always have. These guys love each other, and that whole group right there, man, they'll all play. I just hope they keep getting better. You know, but the competition there, that makes everybody better, for sure.
How far do you think Kevin Swint came last spring playing at end?
He came a long way last year. I mean, he really did. I mean, by the end of last year, I mean, we really were confident in him. You know, very dependable player, and then he just kind of took it to another level this spring. So, you know, he's got them 4 dudes in front of him, but this time next year, all them guys are gone. So this will be a big year for him as a redshirt sophomore to really solidify himself, and he'll have plenty of opportunity to play for sure. But I'm really proud of Kevin. He's a good football player. He's a very committed guy. He's a great teammate. He's passionate about it. He's tough, but he has fully made that transition and bought into it. Very knowledgeable, very instinctive player. Like the game comes easy to him. It really does.
Is Jake Brennan still a guy that could be moved out? So not playing outside receiver, he can just move it outside. So.
I mean, all of our tight ends are outside. I mean, you know, we're more detached than we are attached. You know, they're some depending on formation, they're in the backfield some, but and then we'll occasionally have some attached stuff. But most of the time, those guys are in a 2-point stance. But I mean, Jake can do it all. I mean, I'm proud of him. You know, he from where he was, I think he was about maybe 227 or something like that, and he's, you know, working to where we need. I think he'll roll out of Clemson in the probably 240 range, and you know, it doesn't happen overnight, but he's really progressed, really in all areas. But he's one of those guys that again can be as good as he wants to be. There's really nothing he can't do. I mean, he's a tough kid, and we got to continue to get a little more thump in his rump, if you will. But he's a tough-minded kid, but he can really run. He's got great ball skills, and still just developing. I mean, you know, true freshman last year, got enough experience to be dangerous. I thought he built on it this spring. I like how he finished the spring, and I think he's in a good spot. But, you know, we love what we have at that position with him and Sage and Davis. I mean, we got 3 really good players, and nobody ever talks about Luke Price, you know. But old Luke, man, he's a salty dog. He's a good football player for us. 6-year guy, one of the strongest guys on this team, one of the smartest, and one of the most respected guys on this team. So it's a really good group, you know, good room. And, you know, I think poised hopefully to have, you know, our best year in a while at that position.
What's your first thoughts on a guy like Antonio Williams? I know you mentioned him earlier. Yeah, just your first thoughts on him.
Yeah, he's a dynamic player, in that he can, you know, do a lot of things. You saw that in high school, you know, from yards after the catch, you know, screens, sweeps, you know, winning in space. He's a very good route runner. Like you know, he's more of a, you know, he and Cole Turner are 2 good examples. Like Cole Turner, I love our group. This is a fun. I mean, Adam Randall, are you kidding me? This guy's 230 and runs a 4.4, and he's got like 3% body fat. It's insane. I mean, it's crazy what this kid is going to be. And then you got Antonio, and then you got Cole, who, you know, Cole, he might be top 3 fastest kid on this team. Can fly, and he's got a high skill set, but he's only played 2 years of football. You know, and he played as a junior in the option, and he played in the spread as a senior because he was a basketball guy that decided he wanted to play football. I mean, I'm excited about him because we can throw him in the weight room, and we got to teach him a lot. But they're all going to end up in the same spot when it's all said and done. But you know, Antonio is a very polished kid. You know, he's at a very different place than a guy like Cole. Like I said, I think they're going to end up in the same spot, but where they start at is different. Antonio is very polished, very skilled, has a really high aptitude of the position from a technical aspect standpoint. So I'm excited to get my hands on him and really watch him. And then, you know, but the guy that's probably been the best guy out there has been Spector. I mean, you know, everybody just forgets who Spector is because he hadn't played in 2 years. So easy to forget him. when you don't have anything to really go by. But he is a beautiful football player. He is big and strong and explosive. And this time last year, he couldn't walk up those steps, literally. So and we got some things like that on this team that I think has galvanized this group a little bit. And Specs poised for a great year. But that little Antonio, man, I'm excited to see him and Will Taylor. And Stellato, he had a heck of a spring. I loved how he finished. So hopefully we'll get him back sooner than later. I wish he could go today.
Anybody else?
Yeah, one more. How would you describe your approach to recruiting in this class, especially with the success you've had building that 23 group? How would you describe that approach for you?
No different than it's been since I've been here. Just looking for kids and families that value what we offer. And same philosophy that we've always had, no different. And we're right where we've always been. Probably by September 1, we'll be, percentage-wise where we've always been as far as completion of the class. So we really haven't done anything. We just kept the main thing, and just continue to. We don't offer a lot of guys. I think we're fourth fewest offers in the country. So we don't try to be all things to all people. We believe in who we are and how we do things, and so really just I think the more chaotic it's gotten, the better it's been for us, in a recruiting standpoint. So excited about where we are.
All right. Thank